Hey everyone, new location and a new hairdo. Hope you like it. Looks pretty good. Happy Friday. Hope you're all doing well. First video for me for the week. Looking here, what we're going to talk about is your research project. That'll be your summative for Unit 8 here. Unit 8 is going to wrap up, if you look here, it's going to wrap up on Wednesday of next week. And then we start reviewing. So I'm going to go over the project. My suggestion would be spend about 45 minutes today on the project and then 15 minutes on the vocab packet for Unit 4 and 7. Some of you, I think, didn't start that soon enough, so you had a bunch of work to do the day that was due earlier this week. It's not due until 2 Tuesdays, so not this Tuesday, the Tuesday after that. So you got about a week and a half, but spend some time, get a little bit of work on it. And remember, the purpose of that is those are terms that have been on FRQs over the past 9 years. So if you do those, you should have a pretty good understanding of the type of information they like to put on FRQs. Because if you forgot, your AP exam is all FRQs. So get good at knowing those definitions. And then that'll be a lot of what we do review time is starting to go back over FRQs. So we'll go ahead here, look at the Unit 8 summative. So 15 summative points. It's going to be due next week, Wednesday, which is April 29th by 11:59 p.m. So what you're going to do here is you're essentially taking the role of a clinical psychologist, and you're going to think about how can we diagnose and treat individuals with abnormal behaviors. So we'll start, actually, I'll scroll to the bottom of the page. So you can work with a partner on this. Obviously, social distance yourself. Don't be hanging out with each other doing this. You have to pick one of the following disorders. These are like the 8 big psychological disorders. So you have generalized anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, major depressive disorder, schizophrenia, panic disorder, post traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder, or social anxiety disorder. So those are the 8 you get to pick from. So you're going to pick a disorder, and then you're going to present a case study. Remember, case study is an in-depth look at an individual. You are going to diagnose that individual based on their symptoms, which essentially just means describe what their symptoms were, connected to the DSM-5, and then propose a treatment method for their diagnosis. So that's where what you did yesterday, looking at the different treatment methods, but you're going to go actually research and see what the most commonly used treatment methods for that specific disorder is. So the first requirement here, you include a real life case study. This could be in, I see, or I put here, you can do this on whatever format you want to do. You can do Google Slides, you can put it all on Google Doc, you could do a Prezi, you could do a video, whatever you want to do, whatever is easiest for you. So the first thing you're going to have to do is present a case study. So case studies are used a lot of times to describe what a psychological disorder looks like. So what you could do here is, and a lot of times students do videos, right? You could just put a video into your project, but then the big thing is you have to then clearly state what the symptoms were that were represented in the case study. So for example, if you're doing major depressive disorder, right? That individual in your case study, what were their main symptoms that they showed that connect to major depressive disorder, right? And then be very clear about Johnny here had showed these symptoms. All right, so you're presenting your case study, you're going to describe the symptoms. Then the next part is, based off of those symptoms, you're going to diagnose the patient. So do the behaviors fit the criteria for a disorder? And then what DSM criteria is met? So the DSM is essentially, it's like a textbook. I have them in my classroom. They're like this thick. of all the psychological disorders you can be diagnosed with. Now, you can find the criteria online. If you look up DSM criteria for major depressive disorder, you'll be able to find it online. So you include the criteria in there, and then you connect it back to your case study. So Johnny in the video showed that he had a loss of interest in activities. That would be one of the DSM criteria. All right. And like with major depressive disorder, they have a list of, it's like 15 different symptoms. And then the individuals have to meet, I think, 6 of those symptoms over a more than a 2-week period. So like that would be the stuff you would want to include in there. Like he has to show these symptoms for more than 2 weeks. He has to have 6 of the symptoms, blah, blah, blah. So make sure you're including that criteria in there. Make sure it comes from the DSM, or at least, it's a website that has the DSM in there. Next part is focusing really on connecting back to the psychological perspectives. So this goes back to that second video you watched, would have been Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. So how would 2 different perspectives of psychology explain this specific disorder? So major depressive disorder. And this is, you're not just coming up with these on your own. Like go look up, research the actual causes of the disorder, and then connect them to the specific perspective that cause connects with. So like, for example, major depressive disorder can be caused by a lack of serotonin, or an imbalance in serotonin. So in your project, you would state this disorder can be caused by a lack or imbalance of serotonin in the brain. This would be connected to the biological perspective of psychology. All right, so that would be 1, but you have to do 2 of them. All right, and most of them are going to have some biological, cognitive, behavioral, social, cultural. Those are going to be really the big ones. Then you're going to move on to a treatment proposal. So you're then going to propose how you would want to treat this specific disorder. And you're going to propose 2 treatment methods. And then you're going to include potential side effects. And if there's success rates, include those as well. Sometimes you can't find success rates. However, especially if you're doing some sort of medication, right? Medication has side effects, so make sure you include those in there. Not a lot of psychosurgery done anymore, so you probably won't, talk about someone getting a lobotomy, but you could put that in there. And then the last part, include a works cited page for 2 resources that were used in the diagnosis and treatment part. Hopefully something's referencing the DSM there. So that's your project. Like I said, probably spend about 45 minutes today on it, and then I would do 15 minutes of vocab work. And then Tuesday, it'll just be work on the project, do some vocab work. Wednesday, finish the project, and then work on your vocab. And then on Thursday, we get into review mode. So if you haven't looked at any of the AP exam update stuff I've put on there, take some time, go look at that. Get yourself up to date with what your AP exam is going to look like. I'll see you all later. Have a great weekend. Email me if you have any questions.